Okay, I want to start a brief discussion about creating a box plot. When you create a box plot, you need the data. So we're going to start with 60 randomly selected students whose pulses were taken for a minute, and this is the results here. Now, if you want to pause the video and put this data into a list in your calculator, we're going to need to generate the one variable statistics because you need the 5-number summary to create the box plot. And then on the side here, we're going to use the algorithm to calculate outliers using the lower fence and upper fence. Okay, so let's assume that you've entered all this data into a list and you've run the 1-var statistics. And if you do so, you should come up with the same values I've got for your minimum X. So that's the smallest piece of data. Pulse rate. Q1 begins less than or equal to 65. And then the median is 72. Q3 less than or equal to 80. And then the maximum value in the data was 113. Okay, so now we need to find the fences. And remember, the way you calculate the lower fence and the upper fence requires that we take Q3 minus Q1. So that's going to be 80 minus 65, or 15. And remember, we called that the IQR, or the interquartile range. The lower fence is equal to Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR, 15. Okay, so we've got Q1. I'm going to erase this and put my actual Q1 there. So that's 65. Okay, so calculating our lower fence quickly. Should get 42.5. Here's our upper fence. It's Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR. Okay, so Q3 is 80. Oops. Okay, so real quick, 80 plus 1.5 times 15, 7.5, 102.5. Okay, when we look at the minimum value of 53, we can see there's no outliers here. But there's one outlier in our data set, and that's going to be the 113. Because as you peruse this, and if you sorted it in your list, you would see that the only value that's between, or the only value that's above 102.5 is 113, and the next value is the 101 is the closest value to the fence. Now what I'm going to do, just to illustrate this, is I'm temporarily going to mark the fence boundaries. Now I've plotted this, and if you look at this, you can see that I've given I've evenly spaced it, which you need to do to get an accurate read of your box plot. And every one is worth 2, so there's 5 here. So I'm going to try and find my lower fence of 42.5, so that's somewhere over here. And my upper fence of 102.5, so that's 102. So just a little bit past that is going to take me to my upper fence. Okay, Now the reason I put them in red is because the fences are not part of the box plot and we want to erase them when we're done. All right, so the important parts are going to be Q3, the median, and Q1. So let's mark these with vertical lines. So Q1 at 65. So there's 65 is going to be halfway between. So that's going to be right here. Median is 72. That's easier to find because these are spaced on 2s. So there's my 72. And then Q3 is an 80, which is also right there. So what we've created here is the box part, and I'm going to go ahead and do my best to draw the box. So this is Q1, which we know is 65. This is the median, which is 72. And this is Q3, 80. All right. Now, since there are no outliers left of the lower fence, we're going to end our box plot with the minimum X, which is 53. Now, since this is 52, I'm going to put 53 just a little bit beyond that. Okay, so this is, I'm labeling this just for illustration purposes. And then we take the whisker from the center of Q1 and drag that out to, I'm going to cheat here and use a line. We'll take that and drag that out to here. Okay, come back. Now, since we have an outlier over here beyond the upper fence, I'm going to take that one data value, 113. So this is 110, so that's 112. So 113 is going to be about right here. Our outlier is going to get a little star. And that also happens to be our max. So I'll label that as 113. Now, we only draw the whisker out to the largest value in our data set that's inside the upper fence. So if we sorted this, we would see that there'd be the 101, 101, and then 113. So 101, which is going to be about right here, is the largest value in our data set that's below the upper fence. So again, I'm going to connect. Clean that up a little. Okay, so the upper fence was just a reference. It doesn't actually show up, or it doesn't stretch to the upper fence in our plot. So now I'm going to erase my upper fence marking and my lower fence marking. Now I have the proper box plot representing student pulse rates. And that's it.